We're staying with developments in Maiduguri as thousands of residents have been displaced following a massive flood, which affected at least 6 communities with houses, cars, hospitals and schools submerged. Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived at Borno State to assess the level of damage and to commiserate with the victims. The Vice President also had to make his way through the flood. He was also at the Shehu of Borno's palace, where he assured of the federal government's support.
Your Eminence, we are here at the directive of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to commiserate with the government and people of Borno State, most especially His Excellency the Governor and Your Eminence, the father of the state, over the very catastrophic flooding incident this morning that devastated a greater chunk of Maiduguri metropolis. The President has directed us to come along with the Minister of Agriculture, with the DG of NEMA and the Federal Commissioner for Refugees Commission. And I equally in turn requested our members of the
As the Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, at the palace of the Shehu of Borno, where he is visiting to commiserate with victims of the flood in that state. Let's now bring in our senior reporter in Borno State, Jesse Tafida, who is monitoring the situation in Maiduguri as residents flee to safety. Jesse, what is the latest that you can tell us in terms of the level of damage and then just the efforts by emergency response?
Well, quickly to bring our viewers up to speed on what transpired since morning to this time, it was around 3:30 a.m. in the morning where we had distress called from residents that their houses are being submerged, hospitals are being submerged, schools, and we went out as early as 3:30 a.m. to go and assess the level of damage being done by the flood. And we understand that it was as a result of the collapse of Alo Dam, which is a big reservoir in Maiduguri and one of the tributaries of the Lake Chad. So a lot of houses have been submerged. According to the National Emergency Management Agency, over 200,000 people have been displaced. And we could see them, mostly vulnerable women and children. We could see students of the College of Nursing, College of Health, hospitals like the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospitals were all submerged. You could see patients trying to go out of the hospital, fleeing to safer grounds. And when it's noon, the water levels continue to increase and shops.
I see that you're having a connection problem. I'll just put you on hold for the moment as we take your report. You have been monitoring that situation as you mentioned. Let's now look at the report that you filed.
An early morning flood caught residents of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, unawares. The flood waters brought most parts of the metropolis on its knees. Residential areas, shops, hospitals, markets, schools and bridges were submerged. Many residents tried to save what they could as the water level increases. Others flee to relatively safer areas as fast as they could. The state government has since commenced evacuation of victims of the flood disasters as they are being provided temporary shelters. Though the government is yet to issue an official statement on number of casualties, it advises residents to ensure their safety. The floods as a result of Alo Dam collapse has washed most parts of the state, a situation residents say occurred sometime in 1994. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
That was a report by our senior reporter, Shettima, on the situation there in Borno. We have him standing by still to give us updates. Jesse, we know now that the vice president is there. We've seen him at the palace of the Shehu of Borno. Give us more updates on his visit and then what the plans of the federal government to assist in terms of emergency response and then the humanitarian crisis.
The vice president was here together with some members of the National Assembly and then members of the Federal Executive Council. They went straight to Bakassi camp where the victims are taking refuge, and he spoke to them in the local language. He said that the president of the country, Bola Tinubu, is aware of what is happening and his heart got with them, and he assured them of quick and support from the federal government for immediate relief. From there, he makes his way through the waters together with his entourage to the shores of Borno's palace, and he assured of the federal government's support. According to him, already 50 trucks of food items and other basic items are already on their way to Maiduguri to give relief to the victims, and more support will be coming through the National Emergency Management Agency, through the Refugee Council, through the Northeast Development Commission. According to him, this will not take long. People will be relieved, and their houses would also get stuck. That's talking about people that are the victims. Now, talking about hospitals and schools, the Borno State government has already issued a statement that all schools will remain closed until the water level comes down. And the good news now is when we are making our way back to the airport to drop the vice president, we could see that the water levels are coming down and residents are excited, residents are happy. It shows that, yes, good news will continue to come their way.
Thank you so much, Jesse, for that update. I know that we'll continue to speak with you because this is an ongoing crisis. Thank you, Jesse. And just to what Jesse was speaking about earlier, the response of the president, who has expressed deep concern about the flooding in parts of Maiduguri. He condoled with the government and people of the state, especially families that have lost their means of livelihood due to the disaster triggered by the collapse of the Alau Dam. The president has called for the immediate evacuation of people from affected areas as relevant authorities assess the damage caused by the flood. The president assured Governor Babagana Zulum that the federal government is ready to collaborate to address the immediate humanitarian needs of the affected people. He also ordered the National Emergency Management Agency to assist the flood victims. Now, joining me on the news at 7 is Programs Manager at Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, Olamide Gunlade. Good to have you join us. We seem to be having network challenges there. We'll try and reconnect with Olayemi to have that conversation. But let's turn to more reactions to this particular crisis. The Nigeria Governors Forum has sympathized with the government and people of Borno and Yobe states as flooding ravages parts of Maiduguri city and Jere in Borno state, as well as some local government areas of Yobe. The NGF, in a statement by its chairman, Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, says it stands with the governments and residents of affected areas. The NGF commended swift efforts of the federal government and its states to bring immediate succor to the victims. Similarly, the Governors Forum sends its condolences to the government and people of Niger State on the death of 48 people and several livestock in a petrol tanker explosion along Bida-Agay-Lapai Highway in the state. The forum says the incident again underscores the need for all road users to prioritize safety at all times.